Stripe is the gold standard of B2B software. Some people even say that it's Y Combinator's biggest success. Founders, designers, we all looked at Stripe once and figured out, hey, we have to steal from them. It looks so good and everything works so perfectly. But the real question is, why? What exactly did Stripe do that other startups didn't? You have to think about it. It's a payment infrastructure. How can you make something so boring into something so great and so easy and lovely to use? Hi, I'm Nick, a product designer, founder and investor who worked with companies like Digimark, Delta AI and SaaS Children's Villages to help improve their user journey or build products from the ground up. And I was always fascinated by Stripe. You open it up and somehow everything seems easy. The dashboard feels clean, the wording feels human, and even the documents, which are purposely made for developers, are easy to understand for me. And again, it's payment software. They need to handle transactions in 50 different countries, different currencies, on different devices, for shop owners, for digital marketers, for everyone. How can they make it so easy? And then with all the laws, compliances and edge cases, you would expect a software like this to be super complicated. Because things get messy very fast. You would expect drop-downs inside of drop-downs. You would expect different, confusing error states. You would expect a dashboard that's so full it looks like Excel on a bad day. But Stripe feels easy, simple and fast. Like it's actually made for humans. And that's not by accident. From the beginning, they did not invest in marketing, sales, engineering. They invested into design, not as an afterthought, but as a core business strategy. As Katie Dill, head of design at Stripe, said in an interview.
And so the founders did an incredible job bringing very thoughtful details to that experience. Like, how is this gonna work? How is the money exchange? How are they communicating? How do we portray it on the internet? And by doing that and really sweating over every one of those details, I think they made it more approachable for somebody to try something new.
And it worked, because today, if you think about an easy to use B2B software tool, you think about Stripe. So in this video, I want to break down how Stripe exactly used design to build a $50 billion company. I will show you the 3 design principles that Stripe nailed that you can steal today. Let's dive in. Most startups treat design like an add-on, something you will add later or something you have to hire for. Stripe was different. They cared about design from day one. They knew something very simple. If your product feels polished and intentional, people will trust you with your money. Even tiny UX details like microcopy, hover states, and smaller details add up and signals to your users. If they care so much about the UX, how do you think how much they care about our payments? So my key takeaway as a founder is that design has to start at the top. You have to care as a founder and not just source it out. Because eventually you will set the bar of how great the design at your startup should be. Stripe's design isn't just pretty. They care about every little detail. Every button copy, every empty state, every hover detail is crafted to make you feel safe. Katie Dill explained it perfectly.
I mean, if you just think about the small details, and sometimes it's subconscious, right? Is that like you see a typo and you're like, oh, okay, that's like a little weird. And then, maybe, something else is just like not really laid out correctly, or that like you closed out that box and then you lost all your work. And then you're like, oh gosh, I have to start again. You start to question like, well, if they haven't pulled that off right, if they haven't gotten that detail, what other detail aren't they getting right?
This is especially critical for Stripe because they are moving money from people to other people. But to be fair, the principles apply to everything. If your front end feels buggy and hard to use, imagine how the back end looks like. And Stripe avoids this by obsessing over small details. Error handling, edge cases, field validations or inputs. So my key takeaway for startup founders is that the micro details are macro trust signals. At Stripe, design isn't just a department that sits in a corner. It's embedded in the product process. Katie said,
So they are embedded in the teams. They have the same shared goals as PMs and engineers, and they're working on these things together from start to finish. And that makes a big, big difference in how the work gets done.
and this matters because most startups, they just silo design. Product teams ship features and then just ask the design team to polish it and make it look good. Stripe flips that. The designers there sit with the PM and the engineers to talk about how to build it, how to design it, and how to ship it. And it doesn't stop there. Stripe runs walk the store sessions, where different departments try each other's software, where different teams use their own product to catch friction points. They even score user flows with red, green, and yellow scorecard. So my key takeaway for founders here is, if you want a high quality product, design cannot be an afterthought. It has to be part of your product culture. Stripe didn't win because they had the biggest feature list or the most affordable pricing. They won because the product felt like it was built by people who actually care. So to summarize, here are my 3 key lessons that every startup founder should steal. First, care about design on a founder level. Second, obsess over small details builds trust. And third, bake design into the product culture from day one. I'm sharing how to build better user experiences and be more Stripe-like in my weekly newsletter Design Lab. You can find the link below. If you like this video, let me know in the comments. You can like it, subscribe of course, and I hope I see you in the next one. Bye bye.